One of the myths that irritates me is how many people think that owning a franchise is cheating in business. Cheating. There are whole segments of people out there who will not look at a franchise because somehow they fell under the spell of you're a real business owner if you start it from scratch.
Gloria Steinem once said, "We will never solve the feminization of power until we solve the masculinity of wealth." Barbara Provost and Maggie Nielsen are the team at Purse Strings that will help you navigate the ins and outs of financial independence so that you can be financially fearless. This is Women in Money, the shit we don't talk about.
Meg, welcome to Women in Money, the shit we don't talk about. I know we already got talking before we even started this podcast, so much good energy. So before we dive into all of that, can you share a little bit about who you are and the work that you're doing?
Sure. The nuts and bolts of it is I am now 63. I have been a business owner for decades. It was my husband at the time. I went to a franchise expo. I think I was 28. And he invested in a concept called Great Clips. Knew nothing about it. It doesn't really matter, but he's a shiny, sparkly kind of a guy, and he quit after our first location got open. I'm a terrier. And so, Women in Money, I'm a terrier. Do not put my money on the line and think that I'm just going to cower and back off. So, that was an early lesson for me in needing to lean in and take control. We went from a single location, bought a second one, opened a third one, got divorced. No alimony, no child support. Good luck with that. And so I said, okay, that's fine. I'll take them. I opened two more. Someone made me an offer I couldn't refuse. I jumped the fence and went over to the franchise consulting side so that I can help people. And many of them are women who are looking for a diversification strategy. So women with confidence, people who are really looking for that safety net in their financial future. So that's the world that I live in. I am now remarried, and my husband and I lose count how many businesses that we have. And so I'm an employer, business owner, angel investor, pretty involved human being in the world of business.
Wait, so how many great clips did you have?
5.
And do you know anything about hair?
So beautiful thing about franchising is that they want people, franchise companies want people who can run a business. The role of the owner is more or less to hire the industry expert and let them run the day-to-day of it. So I got to 5 locations, and there was an owner in the market who was having trouble finding real estate. And so he cash on the barrelhead, and he made me a 7-figure offer, and I took it.
Wow. So he bought all of them?
And that was 2003. That was 2003. Wow. So that was a long time ago. I started the consulting side of things in 2002. So I was a single parent at that point. I have one son who's now 35 and got a lot of great stories about his perspective on he's so funny. After he graduated from college, he said, "I know this is going to sound really crazy, Mom, but I thought you were just a divorced single stay-at-home mom. Because you were there when I got on the bus and you were there when I got off the bus." Case in point for owning a business that doesn't suck you in and make you do the work. I had an organization at that point of people who were quite capable, and I managed the overview, and that allowed me to be a flexible parent to parent my kid.
I'm so impressed in so many areas already. First of all, I love that you opened up with your age, because I think women just need to share their age and own it more. I did all these things, and then no grass is growing under your feet, and your son doesn't even know that you're business owner, running another business, doing all these things. You're not running around frazzled. You're just that's it. I've got people working for me. I mean, boss move right there.
Thank you. It took time to get the confidence, and I think we'll get to that particularly for your audience. It's not like I fell off the back of a truck and I was born confident. I wasn't at all. In fact, I struggled for a long time with anorexia, which is kind of how invisible can I be, and worked my way out of that one as well. So challenges are really just there to help us do better.
Let's dive into that while we're here. How did you build this confidence? I know it's step by step and it's kind of building blocks, right? It's not like an all or nothing thing. And so what started building this confidence for you?
Number one is I grew up in a household that was pretty affluent, and the conversation around money didn't happen easily or naturally. And my mom is funny now. She'd say, "Oh, Meg, you talk about money all the time." Yeah, because money is a tool. Money enables us to do so much more. So anyway, how did I start building the confidence was number one, I had to get away from my brother. He still is a toxic human being. And that formulated a lot of my self-esteem around being a woman, being a girl. And so it was after getting married. I did not marry the right person, which a lot of underconfident women fall into that trap of marrying prematurely before we really know ourselves. So what helped me a lot was owning this business that my ex-husband didn't embrace the female persona. He didn't embrace the creative side of the business. And so he immediately wanted to back away. And I'm territorial. I'm about money. I was not going to lose. I was going to win. So I started to realize just how type A and competitive I can be. And so once I really leaned into it and started to understand where the problems in the business were, that we both were kind of like, hey, it's a franchise. Well, it'll all get sorted out. Hear no evil, see no evil. It'll all work out. But you're an independent business owner, and there are decisions that needed to be made. And one of the hardest decisions that was really formative for me is we were losing money hand over fist and for an extended period of time. Now, this goes way back. We didn't have a security system. The point of sale software was pretty minuscule at that point, but I knew that money was missing. And as I figured out what was going on, it was my manager and one of my receptionists. And they were $100, the drawer would be short by a lot of money. And so I called the police after figuring out who was involved. And the gentleman said, "You have two choices. You can let it go or you can do something about it." I said, "Well, I need to do something about it." He said, "All right, I'll send over a squad car." Like, oh my God, really? And that's when it all became super real that I own the business. I'm the lead dog. If I don't make a decision, then the inmates are going to rule the roost. And from that day forward, I pulled on my big girl pants and marched on forward. And so the confidence that comes from something that's scary is something that we all have to understand happens in life. And you can avoid it, which my ex-husband wanted to avoid it. And I said, no, or it needs to be done.
You're not a doormat where they're not going to walk all over you and take your money.
And if you don't pay attention to it, if you don't know what your KPIs are, numbers don't lie.
Love it, right? You had to stand up and it's kind of roles. Like, this is my role. I'm the owner. I need to make a decision here. I need to take charge. It's going to be embarrassing and feel awkward and uncomfortable for all of us, but this is the truth. This is what part of being a business owner is.
And I wanted to be nice.
We all want to be nice. That doesn't get us anywhere.
That's like the biggest thing I'm trying to learn as a business owner. I'm like, I'm the owner. I can't always be nice and let people walk over. And it's hard. It's hard.
And that's the lonely part of being a business owner. It's easier in franchising because you've got a network of other owners who are waving the same flag. We're all pulling the same rope. And so there's a network of people who have a shared experience. But yes, being an entrepreneur is hard. And I was a keynote speaker for an event about a year and a half ago. And after I came off stage, a woman, and I always talk about my age because I think it's important to own it. And this younger woman came, it was a conference for female entrepreneurs. So many great experiences and comments that I have to share with you about that experience. But she came up to me and she said, "I don't know how you still, where do you have the energy? I get 2 or 3 fires in a day and I'm done." Like, girl, you got to change your outlook towards fires because you own it and the buck stops with you. And if you're not willing to make the decisions, then you can expect that your business will not thrive.
So when did you want to start making this transition from owning franchises to kind of consulting and helping other people get into the franchise space or grow their franchise?
Yeah, the gentleman who was the vice president of franchise development at Great Clips, he was bringing people to the market. Now, I was in Chicago. The organization supported cooperatives in the marketplace. So I was the co-op president. I was on this, that, and the other committee or started committees. And so Jeff Elgin is his name. Jeff was bringing new candidates for Great Clips to me to help interview them and see if they would be an appropriate fit for the franchise. And he more or less tapped me on the shoulder one day. He said, I am out of here. I'm tired of meeting quotas. I'm tired of people fogging up mirrors and writing checks who then are not appropriate for the business. I want to do this the right way. So I'm starting this company called Franchoice. It's only going to be people who have franchise experience. Now, I also have a degree in counseling, so it makes me really even more qualified because this is the role that I play is like an executive recruiter in the world of franchising. So I'm not a salesperson. I'm a navigator. And so it was easy for me to say fearlessly, really fearlessly, this role is perfectly suited to me. I can't wait. And he was wise. He said, listen, you're a single parent. Your son is young. Sell your businesses first. And that's an important element too, is when you're ready to mentally get out, you need to prepare your business for sale. And so I don't know how long it took for me to really get organized. I ran clean. I was all above board. I didn't have any skeletons in the closet that I had to go back and fix. So it was pretty easy for me to get my books together. I had had the idea in mind for a while that I didn't have the passion to continue to grow the organization. So I was, in a way, really ready. He got me at the right time where I'd already been thinking about it, about leaving. And then he gave me this opportunity that now I've been with Franchoice for about 25 years.
And you're still doing that today.
I love it. Yes.
So tell me, is it just for Great Clips?
No, we at Franchoice, so we have a portfolio of companies, kind of like a wealth manager. We don't represent everybody because there are a lot of bad franchises. There are a lot of great ones who can do it on their own or have the internal mechanisms. So our portfolio of companies is it's more than 300 companies right now. And it's all across the board. It's absolutely not food. I think that's the smallest proportion of businesses in our portfolio. People naturally think about that, but it's
That's
a lot
like the
of
first ones that come to mind are Subway, Dunkin's, McDonald's. Yeah.
And they may be, but well, worldwide, they have more locations open, but they do their own development. And kind of an interesting thing that people don't think about is there's a lot of talk right now about, I want to buy revenue. I want to buy an existing business. Well, you know what? Everybody does. Absolutely. Everybody wants, that's the holy grail. Well, can I do it with a franchise? Like the best way to buy me out at Great Clips was for someone internally who is already a franchisee. Because then on the inside, we know what's for sale. We know who's struggling. We know who wants to exit. And that's the easiest transaction for a franchisor to approve is to somebody who's already a known entity. So anyway, long story short, Franchoice represents many, many different industries, and very, very few are in the world of food.
Got it. So give me a ballpark of what it costs to purchase a franchise today.
There's a huge range. And so I would say if an individual wants to make real money, 6 figures, not walking around money, not these vending machines, they'll give you walking around money. But they're also very easy to break into and steal from. So for people who want real money, you're going to invest 6 figures, and it's going to start with a 1. I've got companies that are easily a couple $1 million in build out. And so you're going to need to have a lot of money at the top end. But the sweet spot for me is really that $500,000 and less for people who then want to scale into multiple locations, multiple trucks. They're not all brick and mortar businesses like a Great Clips. You go to the door, pull it open. You know why they're there. You know why you're there, and they know why you're there. It's to get a haircut. You don't take your home to get new windows. They come to you for your roof, for your fence. And so there are a lot of different opportunities in that $500,000 and under so that people can get in at and I'm going to say affordable because people with money want to make more money. And so it's affordable for them to make a six-figure investment. And maybe they're getting a loan, maybe they're using home equity to fund the startup. And so I work really closely with people to figure out what's your end goal and how much money do you want to make so that we can right size the investment.
Got it. And so do you work with the SBA? I mean, where do they get the money from typically?
There are a lot of different financial levers, and I'm not the expert on that. I have a number of different resources that I refer my candidates to so that the information I'm collecting is really at a very high level. What are your assets? What are your liabilities? What's your credit score? But when it comes to borrowing the money, usually my people have already been through, I would say, the front half of their research and have an idea then money in, money out. What does that scalability look like? Okay, well, then what's your personal net worth and how much can be leveraged? So I've got funding companies that will walk them through what their real strategies are and how to stack those strategies so that they get the most value for their net worth.
I saw a post recently about how do you rechannel debt being bad and things like that. And debt helps you become rich. The richest people carry debt. And I think this is just such a great example of how debt can be helpful in the long term when you know your goals. And I just kind of wanted to highlight that as debt has such a bad rap. This is something I'm trying to wrap my head around too, is like the richest people carry debt. Like debt free can't be the goal. And I just think this is a great example.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought it up, Maggie, because that was a learning lesson for me. I grew up in a conservative household. My financial upbringing was absolutely risk averse, and I had that mentality that debt was bad. Well, let's face it, if you're going to buy a car or you're going to buy a home, probably you're going to get a loan. That's debt. Well, what people don't realize is that, particularly in business, that debt gives you tax advantages that save you. And I'm not avoiding taxes, but why pay more taxes when there are legitimate strategies that keep more money in your business and in your personal account? And so, as Pete, my husband, and I have been growing our own organization, absolutely debt. And case in point, and it's so counterintuitive for people, but our entire 2024 tax bill was eradicated because one of our businesses was losing money. And it wasn't losing money so much as it was a brand new business. It just hadn't taken off yet. So that was a direct write-off. And that would have been a pretty significant tax bill in 2024, completely gone because we had business debt that offset our personal finances.
Yeah, I love it. It's a great example of just you need debt and it does help you grow. And so what's one of like the biggest myths people believe about franchising that you kind of want to demystify?
There are a lot of words that we use that are really very subjective, but some of the biggest ones in franchising is that it's going to cost me $1 million. It's food, or it's going to be a business that's high turnover and a pain in the rear. Well, no, that's why I want people to work with me because then I can eradicate some of those common misperceptions, and they're rampant out there. So the role that I have is really a lot of educating people about what you believe is true is probably not true, but let's get to the fact of the matter. Go ahead and ask anything that you think you believe, and let's get to the bottom of it so that you can put those concerns aside. Yes, there are bad franchises. Yes, there are people who lose a lot of money. But if you go about it wisely and properly invest your money, you're far more likely to make a lot more of it than to lose a lot of it.
And that's why it's so great to have those people on your team like you who've done it before, who know what to look for. I mean, it's like investing. You could DIY it and see how well it goes. And I'm not saying it's going to go bad. It might go great. You never know. You don't know what you don't know, though. And so if you have someone like Meg in your corner or someone who's had a franchise, it's like, I should ask this. I should know about this. This is something that I should really look at every month. I mean, those are things because you don't know what you don't know, especially in this new venture.
Yeah. Yeah, owning a business. Well, as you know, being an entrepreneur, being a solopreneur is super hard. And bless our family and friends, but a lot of them are black cloud sky is falling, oh my God. And what they're doing is foisting their fears. They're afraid for you. Well, the beautiful thing about being part of a franchise is there are a whole lot of other people out there doing exactly the same thing. And if you surround yourself with the people who've been successful, learn from their stumbles and falls. We're all so willing to help the next guy, the next gal, not make the same mistakes that we have. And so I'm seeing a lot of early success, much, much faster than, say, my own great clips way back when. Yep, there are a lot of individuals who are getting into business and they're becoming cash flow positive much faster because franchises have gotten a lot smarter.
Do you find that more people are looking at franchises right now and that popularity of like purchasing franchises is growing? Yeah. So why do you think this is? I felt like, and this is totally talking out of my butt, but like I felt like this was like an early 2000s, like was a big franchise thing, but it's still really growing, this whole opportunity. Some reason I like thought it was like this early 2000s surge of like franchising, but maybe that was just like when Subway was coming up everywhere.
It has been year over year. 2020, of course, everything got set askew and people were afraid, just like 9/11. People were afraid, and then we started to come out of it. 2021 at Franchoice was our best year ever. And so the company was founded in the year 2000. So our 21st year, best year ever. 2022, best year ever. 2023, best year ever. And yes, so year over year, and the reasons there are a number of reasons for that. One is that our consultant base still is primarily people who come from the world of franchising. We understand the jargon, we understand implementation, execution, following the secret sauce. So our consultant base, like me, we're smarter and better. When it comes to franchise companies, we lost no companies from our portfolio in the pandemic. None of them rolled up and blew away and went out of our portfolio. They they doubled down for technology. They doubled down for everything that we were all talking about back then, the personal protective equipment and sanitation and touchless. The implementation more and more of artificial intelligence. It's never going to replace a human. I don't know if you know Mike Rowe and Dirty Jobs. If you've got a toilet and it's overflowing, artificial intelligence is never going to wipe that out. And so year over year, and when I say it's the best year ever, it's the number of placements that we have had as a company. So year over year, we have more placements at Franchoice than all of the other consultant or broker groups put together. Where this is really coming from is number one, accessibility to real information. If people were to follow me on LinkedIn, I'm not a salesperson. I put information out there about where would your money be wisest to be invested. And so we've got all sorts of people coming out of corporate America. We love a good churn because there are people who don't want to go back. They don't like that. And then we've also got people who are very comfortable and happy, productive in their career, but they're looking, maybe they've hit a comfort zone and they want another challenge. This is a diversification strategy. The stock market and investing your money is very passive. This is a great way, for example, for people who are in their 50s, 60s, 70s even. I'm working with people of that generation who have gas in the tank and they are not done yet. They would like to do something that feels good and it contributes to their community, but they can monetize it. So where all this interest is coming from is people who are looking for additional revenue streams.
So give us a couple of popular franchises that people are looking at.
And we didn't even tee this up. When I'm doing my webinars, one of the FAQs is, Meg, what's hot? What is hot in franchising right now? Where should I put my money? I want to be first in. Okay, health, fitness, wellness, beauty. We all know during the pandemic that kids, pets, and parents got a lot of money thrown at them for entertainment, education, enrichment. Okay, then their home services. If it's coming in your roof, if it's coming in your basement, if it's fire, smoke, whatever it might be. So home and business services. And then at the very tail end of it is what I would call experiential retail. has become a catchphrase. If people are going out on a date, they want to go out and do a girls' night out, whether it's a meal or an activity. Could be art class, it could be, I would even put something like I was going to say Chipotle, where you go in, you see the food being prepared. So some of it is food, but it's experiential, like kids and trampoline parks and dog parks.
Dog parks. That's what I want to open, a dog park with a bar, right, Maggie? Like they have in KC.
Yeah. People don't want to go where it's stale and boring. They want to go where it's an experience.
Yeah, that's really great.
And so are you seeing a lot of these franchise owners be women? Are you seeing a lot more women in this space?
Good.
I wish people could hear your facial expressions because they're so good when I ask these questions, but I know the audio does not pick it up.
I had been amazed a number of years ago so I started in the Chicago area, and then as I've been with franchise for such a long time, we're not territory bound, so I can work with anybody anywhere in the United States. And so I was finding that there are certain pockets of the country where women are leading the decision on this investment. And it's not just single women, but it's female head of household. Milwaukee was my first eye opener to how many women were really attracted to franchising, because if you think about who does well in franchising, people who like to cook or bake because they're following a recipe. People who played on a sports team because everybody's got their role, everybody knows their place on the field, and we all know what the win looks like. People who are in the military, it's the same thing. There is a battle plan and there's an outcome, and we will leave no person behind. So anybody who has played, say, an instrument and had to do a concert, so you've been training and practicing, and your ultimate goal is to get up there and do your recital. And a lot of those are women.
Yeah. It's fun to see how applicable that is, because I can see somebody who's like, oh, I've been a musician my whole life. Like, I probably shouldn't own a franchise. It's like, no, you could fit right in because so many of those things are applicable. And I think we limit ourselves so much about that. And again, much easier said than done, right? But we limit ourselves like, oh, well, I've been a stay-at-home parent. Great. You've been running a household. You've been running the boat. You've been getting everywhere on time. You've been cooking and cleaning and doing all the things. You know how to get it done while still managing the PTO board.
I know, right? She's pretty good.
This is exactly correct. People will, and it's men as well, but women, as we know, will diminish themselves. And if I could get rid of that word imposter, it drives me, you can tell from my facial expression, my reaction, it drives me nuts because we all are. We were born into this world knowing nothing. And we all got taken home by two people, or maybe one, who said, I've never done this before. That baby doesn't know any different. Call yourself an imposter, but this is what we all do. We all learned how to ride a bike. We all learned how to swim. We've all done things.
That whole imposter syndrome, I think, is a theory that's made up and put on us to make us feel less than, because it's not true. We don't have imposter syndrome. Everybody has a little fear, a little anxiety, trying something new. So do men and women. But we try it, right? Like you said, you have a baby. No one's ever prepared for that. God knows I wasn't. But look, she's fed and watered and she grew up. She's good. But exactly, I think that whole imposter syndrome is just a bunch of bull that was made up to put on women. It's the same thing. And I read this article and saw a speaker on imposter face. They used to say when women get bicycle face, because when women started riding bicycles, which gave them so much more freedom, they would say you shouldn't ride that bicycle because it gives you bicycle face, which is kind of like wrinkled or squinted or something like that doesn't make you look good. It's the same thing. They're putting labels on us that just are not true. So when people say that about imposter syndrome, I say, that's not true.
One of my earliest recollections about riding a bike, yes, I fell. Didn't work the first time. But once I got going, you could not get that smile off my face. So bicycle phase should really be, hey, look what I've done, which is exactly what we're doing the first time you follow a recipe and pull it out of the oven or off the stove and it tastes good. Well, congratulations, you followed a recipe. You didn't have to make it up from scratch. And that, I could think one of the myths, going back to an earlier question that irritates me, is how many people think that owning a franchise is cheating in business. Cheating. There are whole segments of people out there who will not look at a franchise because somehow they fell under the spell of you're a real business owner if you start it from scratch. Well, you know how many people have bad business ideas? My husband and I do a lot of angel investing. There are a lot of great ideas and bad operators. And so if you want success, then let's get over that whole notion that it's cheating. Because I'll tell you what, when my parents had that opinion as well. Oh, Maggie, Great Clips is a chop shop. You're worth more than that. Don't you have your own business idea? You graduated from Northwestern. Come on. And I had this real heart-to-heart with my parents one day because I was a single parent. And my dad said, honey, you really should be going back to get your MBA. You're worth so much more than this. And I said, well, Dad, how much do you think I'm worth? Well, 6 figures. You ought to be making at least 6 figures. I said, well, I am. With Great Clips? And I did it never cutting hair. I did it by executing a system and being excellent at it. And so when my dad and I drilled down even further into that, and this had to have been in the 90s, probably the late 90s. Sure, because I was divorced at that point. So it would have been like 1998, 99, somewhere in there. And I said, Dad, I am making 6 figures. What if I told you that my take home right now, plus owner benefit, my car, all of my write-offs, again, learning the tax strategies, I was at more than 250. And he looked at me with bright-eyed, just disbelief that with a chop shop haircut, I could be making that kind of money. And so he was foisting his fears on me. I should be accomplishing more. So my experience with this franchise has essentially given me, and I did go and take some MBA classes. I was acing everything because I learned it boots on the
The
ground.
real way, yes.
It was in theory. It was real P&Ls.
It's really fun when people who are naysayers bring those beliefs and instill them on me. And I can say, you've got it completely wrong.
And I can see a dad just being like, well, I just want to make sure you're taken care of. You're a single parent. Like, I don't want to have to support you. Like, different. I can see their own fears, but you're like, I'm 250 in the early 90s. That's good money. I mean, it's still good money today, but not as much as it was in the 90s.
Yeah. Well, and so a lot of that was not my salary. It wasn't the distributions. It was also because I had borrowed from, I'm a big believer in bet on myself. And so I was not afraid to take out a home equity line of credit or borrow against my retirement fund. I'm in my 30s. I'm in my 40s. I'm a heck of a long way from that. So why not take that money and invest it in my business? And so there's a way to take the money, put it into your business, and then you're creating a self-directed IRA to get it back out again. And I was taking the maximum amount, something like $53,000 a year out of my business to put back into a retirement account. So there are people who say, oh, I'm afraid of losing my retirement. I'm afraid of losing my house. Well, if we do it the right way and you're invested in the right business, you're going to come out on the other side with a lot of tax benefits as well as. So I want to be clear for anyone who's listening. I wasn't just taking $250 out of the business, but it was the equivalent of salary distribution and then some of the things that people don't even think about, they are running through their business. Any good tax advisor will tell you what you legitimately can run through your business.
And that's kind of the point, right? It's not about bringing all the money home. It's about filling these buckets. So if I don't have to pay my car bill, if the car's just kind of written off, sure, I don't need the cash, like the car's taken care of. I don't need the money to come out of my paycheck into retirement. If it's going straight there, sure, it doesn't matter, all the buckets are still getting filled at the end of the day. If someone's curious about franchising, what's the first question they should ask before jumping in, or one of the top questions?
Meg, can I work with you?
Great answer,
Amen.
Meg.
And so I've been doing this for a long time, and because it's not physical, it's mental, I'm going to keep doing it because it brings me joy. Okay, so my background, my mother is a hospice nurse. And so death and dying is the scariest thing that any of us confront. And so I took that from my mother. She used to do public speaking and hold up her palms and say, from lily pad to lily pad, from life to death. Well, I hold up my palms and say to people, what if you could take a leap from where you are onto this other lily pad and you're going to stick the landing? You're going to be that frog that lands on that lily pad. You're not going to fall in the water. You're not going to get eaten by the shark or the bass or whatever else is down there. Let me help you evaluate this. In the end, I don't care if your answer is yes or no. I just want you to have the curiosity to say, yeah, I wonder what it would be like to own my own business. I'm not sure if I'm qualified or ready. Great, let's have a conversation about that. And then when you are qualified and ready, you'll have the facts to know. So don't do it alone. It's really hard to do it alone.
Yeah, for sure. I love this conversation. I just think it opens up a whole new world of opportunity that some women may not even be thinking about. We did have a young woman on here who bought a franchise, and it was in heating and air conditioning, something she knew nothing about. But like you described, she wanted to get out of corporate, of working hard for somebody else, and really build her own business up. And so we support her and promote her all the time because we want to support women-owned, women-led businesses. This is another opportunity for women to really step into their own power, learn from you, Meg, and see that they can run their own real life, real business in a way that's repeatable processes. They've shown success. That's why there's so many of them out there, whether it be a Great Clips or anything else. And I think this would be a great opportunity for so many women to really take a look at.
And the other element that is rewarding for me is that I've been divorced. I've stumbled and fallen. People, I think, look at successful people and think that somehow we were born with it. I can relate to any fear that anybody is going to bring because I've been there and I've done it. If people had any idea some of the risks that I then got ballsy enough to take, that I did not win. I did not win at every decision, a solid resource for people who have fear and concern, because chances are I've had that stumble and fall. But if you're willing to get back up again and say, all right, well, that was a learning experience. Didn't kill me. Let's go on. One of my military friends said to me, his philosophy is, you know what, Meg, you can quit, but not until tomorrow.
It's a great one.
And that's one of those things that is in the back of my mind every day is, okay, that was hard. Well, tomorrow will probably be easier, and it'll for sure be different.
If I got over that, I can get over anything else, right? And so there is a question, Meg, we like to ask all of our guests. And so what does financial freedom mean to you?
Oh, gosh. Options. Financial freedom gives me the option to take risks, start more businesses, give more employees opportunity to work for somebody who's going to create a great culture. Yeah, financial freedom came at a price, just like living in the United States comes with a price. Freedom is not free to me and to my husband as well. We keep creating because that financial freedom gives us options.
Yeah, I love it. Well, thank you for coming on and sharing your expertise and being such a great resource for people who are interested in franchises, because I think this is a great opportunity. It's exciting to see that it's growing. And I honestly still can't get over that your son didn't even think you worked. I mean, what great time management. Like, I'm still stuck there. So thank you, Meg, for coming on and just being the amazing resource that you are.
Thank you so much for having me. I've been looking forward to this for some time. And Barb, your episode on my podcast is coming up. So it's super fun to have the different formats and different points of view. So I really appreciated being invited on. So thank you.
And until next time, be financially fearless. You've been listening to Women in Money, the shit we don't talk about. Now it's time to take what you've learned and make bold moves towards financial independence. Stay in the know by joining our newsletter for exclusive tools, resources, and updates that keep you financially fearless. Head to pursestrings.co and sign up today. Need a financial professional who gets it? turn to Purse Strings' curated directory, your go-to resource for financial experts who know how to put you first. Love this episode? Leave us a review and help us empower even more women to own their financial power. Until next time, be financially fearless.